Hello and welcome to Martyn Lucas Investor. My name is Sensei and you're watching the morning forecast show live every single trading morning, 2 hours before the US opening bell, 1 hour before Martyn goes live. And today, what we thought would happen has happened. The US government is shut down. What we're going to do is analyze previous shutdowns, what it means for the market. We've also got gold hitting all-time highs, silver following suit. We've got some news about Tether and Rumble, Warren Buffett, and obviously we're going to dive deeper into this US government shutdown. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Let's get straight into it. So, what do we have here? Well, again, we start off with our very own newsletter published every single morning. So you get the real news. You don't have to search different platforms. You get it all to your mailbox or the app every single day. First link in the description. So what are the top stories? The top stories today is gold hits record highs. Gold surges past $3,875 as investors flee to safety amid US government shutdown and global uncertainty. We've been very, very bullish on gold for the past 3 years, and we are finally really seeing how well gold's performing. I think this is one of the best year gold has had for over 30, 40 years. So really, really great performance from gold, and we were spot on with that. The next one is Taiwan rejects US chip plan. Taiwan refuses US demands to relocate chip output, risking TSMC expansion and tech supply chain stability. We've got Tether USDT teams with Rumble. Tether launches US compliant stablecoin via Rumble, aiming to challenge USDC with built-in audience reach. We've got Buffett eyes a $10 billion OxyChem deal. Berkshire nears acquisition of OxyChem, doubling down on stable industrial assets during economic headwinds. We've also got Trump-backed crypto card launch. If you remember, we covered the World Liberty launch, and now they're looking to launch a USD1, their own stablecoin debit card, bridging crypto with Apple Pay despite token price drop. We've also got the main story today, which is the US government shutdown. Begins. Washington gridlock triggers federal shutdown, pressuring markets and data flow. Investors rotate into gold and treasury. So those are today's stories at a glance. Let's go a little bit deeper into what's going on today. Remember, you get the one big thing, the market snapshot. 5 things you need to know. So shall we start with gold? I think we should start with gold because it's very much linked to the government shutdown a little bit. I mean, it was going to go up anyway, but today it's up a little bit more because of that increased uncertainty. So let's read this gold story today. If you're looking at gold's price, we are very, very bullish on gold. You look at gold at the moment. Sorry, let's go gold. Let me go to my proper gold chart here in the indicators watch list. So here we go. Gold is up 0.56% today. Actually, it traded as high as nearly $3,900. You can just see this uptrend on gold has been quite massive, and this all started with a trading pattern. If you remember, if you go onto the 1 week time frame, you can see this perfect cup handle pattern. We were bullish all throughout this handle area here, even as low as 1,500 we hit dollars per ounce, and once we broke out the neckline, all covered live on this show, the breakout, the neckline, the report we did on gold, all around $2,000 was the breakout point, and it has performed very, very well. I mean, if you look at from that point of breakout to where we are today, that's less than 2 years. It's done nearly 100%, and that's on the world's largest asset by market cap. So really, really great performance from gold. We are looking to potentially start hitting some of our final targets on gold. It can't go on forever. So, and we've also got the crypto markets really, really taking off today as well. If you see, we've got tokens up as high as 8 to 9%. Some are only up a couple percent. Bitcoin's up 2%. So we are, even though the shutdown is happening, we are quite bullish on the markets, and I'll explain exactly why. But let's start off with the gold story, then the shutdown story. If you have just tuned in, if you're watching live or if you're watching later on, make sure you are hitting that like button. Please do make sure you have also subscribed. We do have a poll running in the chat right now. Do you feel like you learn real facts during these morning forecast streams? Yes, great part of the day. No, I don't find it useful. Please do vote on that. I do hope you find some use out of these streams, and it's not just a waste of time for anyone. We try and cover a lot of facts, news, so you get to understand the market a bit more every single day. So gold hits all-time height as flight to safety accelerates. So what we've got here is gold prices soaring to a record $3,800 or $3,875 per ounce today, as the US government entered its first shutdown in nearly 7 years, sparking a rush towards traditional safe havens. The yellow metal is now up 47% year to date, tracking for its strongest annual performance since 1979, with spot prices holding near $3,864 by Asian market close. Gold miners such as Newmont and Barrick climbed 2 to 4% in pre-market trading amid mounting political gridlock in Washington. Fears that the shutdown could delay Friday's non-farm payroll reports added pressure, potentially influencing the Fed Reserve policy path ahead of its next FOMC meeting. We will come onto that story a bit more, but that is the only sort of concern I have about this government shutdown is, one, the data might not come out, which might lead to uncertainty with Fed and Powell. If it was at any other point in the history, it wouldn't really matter because the data is not that important. But we are at such a pivotal moment for rate cuts, getting jobs data. That these bits of data are really important. We might not be getting it. We'll come a bit more onto that in a second. But gold, let's focus on gold for a second. Can you let me know in the chat or in the comments if you're watching later who owns gold? Let me know if you hold gold. Is it physical or is it digital? You don't, or is it an ETF? Again, you don't have to answer the question. You could just say yes or no. But it's interesting. Some people really prefer physical. Some people prefer digital. So let me know in the chat. Do you own gold? Yes or no? Do you own silver? Yes or no? Physical, not physical, or decline to answer. You don't have to answer either. Gold ETFs also saw explosive inflows. I know a lot of people prefer the ETFs, with September marking their largest monthly haul in 3 years. So last month was one of the biggest inflows in some of these gold ETFs in the last 3 years. The SPDR Gold Trust alone attracted 11 billion in 2025, eclipsing the 454 million seen in the whole of 2024. So the year hasn't even ended yet, and there's about 20 times more inflows into the ETF. The rally extended across precious metal complex. Silver jumped to 14-year highs at near $47. Remember, that's all-time highs here in the UK. And platinum surged 79% year to date to top $1,580, its highest level in over a decade. Central banks adding 900 tons to gold reserves this year, and gold mining stocks have mirrored the rally, also rising 79% this quarter. The shift signals more than short-term momentum. Investors are rebalancing towards gold as a strategic hedge against geopolitical turmoil and long-term portfolio fragility. Gold's historic surge is not a knee-jerk reaction, it's structural repositioning. The message from institutional flows and central banks is clear. In a world of physical instability and eroding policy credibility, gold is not just back, it's central. Gold never went away. Bitcoin's not going to replace gold. Gold certainly has its own part in people's portfolios, people's lives, and government balance sheets. And it's something that's been around for thousands of years. And it's the one thing that has kept. It's not really even though in the last couple of years it's been a great investment. It's not. I don't really look at it as an investment. I look at it as a store of value. Personally, which is always great to have a store of value because when times get tough, you can always go and sell that physical gold, or you can sell the ETF. But you can hold gold long term, and it will go up and at least stay in line with inflation. But so far, the reason I got really bullish on it in the last couple of years is because I knew it was going to surpass inflation to a big degree, and we've seen it go up nearly 100% in the last couple of years. Let me go to your comments because I want to see what your thoughts are on gold and silver. Then we'll come on to the government shutdown and give you my thoughts on that. If you have just tuned in, please do make sure you've hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Let's see. Oh, we've got a lot of people replying. Let's see. Remember to let us know your thoughts in the chat. I could be wrong, but crypto charts look massively manipulated. Everything's massively manipulated. Any stock you look at, any crypto chart you look at, there's nothing special about today. Lovely Day says official Diminos, welcome in. High Energy Reviews and Investment says very useful information. Oh, thank you so much. How is the poll doing? Yes, great part of the day. 89% of you. No, I don't find it useful. 11%. I strongly recommend if you don't find it useful, you don't watch, because I don't. If you're not finding it useful, what's the point of wasting your time? A hedge for retirement, which is now for Bruce and I. A hedge for retirement for which oh yes, Angie, I love it. I hold physical maple leaves. Been holding for many years since 2012. Oh, Angie, congratulations. 2012, if I remember correctly, that would have been a great time to buy. If we look at where's the gold chart, 2012. Why do I have a feeling that's when after it crashed? Gold. Oh yeah, so you bought just as the crash started. It did go a bit lower, but it certainly came back up. So finally seeing some good returns, because a lot of people that bought in, let's say 2011, didn't see their money back until 2020, unless you were dollar cost averaging in and buying when it was lower. Then you certainly saw returns. But now everyone's in profit. We've completely surged past those 2011 highs. But for quite a long period, gold never broke above its 2011 highs until about 9 years later. And people didn't see a highs unless they bought lower, which most people did. But even if you didn't, right now, everyone is in big profits. Me, ticker gold. Oh, you like the ETF? Digi, 2 fillings count, Shams. Yep, they count, I guess. I'm short on gold, says David. You're short on gold. I wouldn't bet against gold. I would never bet against gold, especially in this uptrend. People have tried to bet. The amount of times people have come in the chat and said, I'm short on gold, and we were at $2,000 and 2,500, 3,000, 3,500, 3,700, and now you're short on gold at 3,800. I certainly wouldn't go against the trend and try and time the top. But again, not financial advice. That's my thoughts and opinions only. Good luck to you. That was who said they were short on gold? That was David said that. Pascal says made some nice gains with gold. Congratulations. Human being says bravo Angie, still learning here. High energy reviews investments. I own over an ounce of Cuban link 14. I own over an ounce Cuban link 14 carat chain. Lovely stuff. That's the beauty of it. You can also, if you're ever buying a present for your partner, just buy gold. Try and buy it as close to spot price as possible. Get some jewelry, and it will at least go up in value. And it's not something that they won't use a year from now. Both. Yep, nice. Andrew says also in a stock called stock in gold, SPDR, and GLD. Perfect. Elliot says gold toilet. I very much doubt that. Brian says I have gold coins. Lovely. I do always prefer physical. But then you have to pay for storage and all of that. Human beings says I have gold ring. I love it. That's an investment. Gold heart here says David. Sim says gold. Yes. Human being says even the best, David. Sim Maverick says silver. Yes. Official Demino says looks like an AI article. What do you mean it looks like an AI article? What did he say? Mike deleted the chat. What did he say? Not impressed. Official Demino. If you've never seen an AI article, try and get your AI to write an article like that. It won't do it. We do never trust AI here. We do use AI. We don't shy away from that, but it's only to improve our wording and put our ideas together. So, official Demino, please be careful with what you say. You don't. I'm just not going to respond to that. Brian says, I bought quite a few gold coins about 4 years ago. Oh, that was a lovely time to buy, Brian. You'll be up a lot on that. David says, what's up? Hello, David. Nice to see you here. Human, that's not gold around your ring. Why? DJ Haynes says, gold, digital mostly, but still have some physical gold I inherited. DJ Haynes, congratulations to you. A lot of people inherit gold and then they sell it straight away. It's always the worst thing that happens. There was actually someone at where I used to work. Their grandmother gave them a gold sovereign or a half sovereign, and it was a really, really old half sovereign. And they wanted to sell it straight away. They didn't care about holding it. They wanted to buy some clothes. And I said to them, "Are you sure you want to sell it?" And they were like, "Yes." And I was like, "Okay, I'll buy it off you for." I think I said 5% above spot price, so a really good price. Obviously, dealers will sell it for much more, and sellers will get a lot less. And then she was like, no, I can get a lot more. And the funny thing was, she actually put it up on eBay, and not a single person bid on it. And I actually then, obviously, because she doesn't have a very on eBay, you need to have a very good selling history to be able to sell a coin or something like that. But obviously, I found the account, I put a bid on it, and then I bought it off her for a lower amount than I offered her in the first place. So I'm very happy with that purchase. But I never understand, why would you want to sell something you've got gifted unless you really need the money? But she didn't really need the money. She just wanted to buy some clothes. Again, not my money, her money. She can do what she likes. I'm very happy with my purchase. Human Being says, lol, Ellie, it's not in my hand. Prefer silver. Thank you, David Hensley, for all those links. Oh, got a $4 super chat. Why is that not played? Oh, because you haven't left a comment. You need to leave a comment so it reads something out. Thank you very much for the $4 super chat. That really supports the show. We'll come on to the government story in a second. I just want to see what everyone's thoughts on gold and silver are while they're making all-time highs. Eli says silver is good. Kevin says, I've been accumulating packs, only crypto backed by actual gold. Yeah, so that just tracks the price of gold. It's no different to buying really an ETF or physical gold. In fact, I prefer to buy the ETF for physical gold. Yeston says, guess who is back again? Yeston is here and I'm back as well. Yeston, I haven't replied to your purchase, but I saw you bought some more silver. I love it. Good luck to you. David, the chat police, I buy silver big time, says Fonzie. Halo says, which stocks makes us rich today? Can never answer that question. We never know. Been buying silver since it was $12 an ounce, Phil. I love it. Where were we? Who sold XRP on the last couple of days? Not me. Donald says, what do you think about Martyn hating on XRP lately? He flip-flops so much on crypto. I don't really have any thoughts. I'm still bullish. Everyone has their own opinion. If Martyn wants to sell, he can sell. I still like my XRP, so I'm holding. Maybe one day I will sell as well. But it shouldn't matter to you what someone else does with their money. Human says, gold is going to hit 20,000 easily. Oh God, not anytime soon. XRP is at 294 right now. Looks pretty strong. Yes, the crypto market is looking, well, I don't know if it's strong or it's certainly up today. We'll come on to that in a second. Guys, XRP ETF next week. That is very likely. XRP investors are pretty committed. Don't pay much to the critics. Crypto is pumping. Keep in mind the SEC changed the rule on ETFs and asked the funds to withdraw their filings. Yes, we covered that. We did a whole video on that yesterday. Suri looking good this morning. Just traded all my gold for Virgin Galactic stock. Good times ahead. No name. Good luck to you. I wouldn't be hating on anyone selling gold now, even though I think gold is great to hold long term and I think it can go higher. At these prices, I wouldn't fault anyone for selling. Yes, I do think it can go up another 10, 20, 30, 40%. But compared to people selling or shorting at 2,000, 2,500, 3,000, even 3,500, now it makes a bit more sense to sell if you did want to take some profits and you needed the money. If you don't, then maybe just trim off the top. But again, not financial advice. Let's come on to our main story today. We'll come, if we have time, we'll come back to the chip story. And all of this. Let's go over to the US government shuts down, what it means for markets. Again, if you have just tuned in, please do make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already. We'll be going straight over to Martyn in just over half an hour's time for some reviews and some breaking news from Martyn as well. So do stay with us for the next half an hour before we go over to Martyn. So, today's big story that people are flooding all over X and trying to make all sorts of headlines. Let's break it down. The US government shuts down and what it means for markets. So, the shutdown has happened as of midnight yesterday. The US government has officially entered a shutdown after lawmakers failed to pass a funding bill before the October the 1st deadline, marking the start of the new fiscal year. Federal agencies cannot operate without appropriations from Congress. If no budget or stopgap measure is passed, large parts of government funding legally lapse, triggering furloughs and service disruption. So essentially, if they can't agree on the budget, the government shuts down, people stop getting paid, services come to a halt unless they're essential services. And until they figure out the budget. So the funding bill. So at the heart of this, so understanding a little bit why this has happened from both sides of it. So at the heart of the standoff is a dispute over healthcare subsidies and spending priorities. Republicans, who control both chambers of Congress, passed a short-term bill that would extend government funding until late November, but rolled back some of the expanded healthcare benefits under the Affordable Care Act. They argue Democrats are using the shutdown threat to secure partisan concessions. Senate Majority Leader John Thune said his party would not be held hostage to the demands for expanded subsidies. And then the other side of it is Democrats, led by Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, counters that Republicans are trying to bully them into cutting programs that millions of Americans depend on. They are insisting on the extension of healthcare subsidies that prevent insurance costs from spiking for families, as well as protecting against unilateral rollbacks by Trump's administration. Republicans are plunging America into shutdown, rejecting bipartisan talks, pushing a partisan bill, and risking Americans' healthcare, Schumer said yesterday. The White House has added another layer of uncertainty by threatening not just temporary furloughs, but permanent layoffs. We saw President Trump say this in his office yesterday. That it could give them the chance to permanently lay people off, something that's not seen in past shutdowns. So that's something that's a bit different. Normally, you don't look at permanently laying off people. People will have to be furloughed temporarily, but it might give an opportunity to the White House to permanently lay off these people, which is something you haven't seen before. President Trump has framed this as a necessary step to cut costs, and eliminate what he calls Democrat programs. If anyone's having issues with sound, please refresh. Issues with sound, please refresh. Nothing on my end. This is sometimes what happens with YouTube. I think we're all good on the sound. So there we go. Where were we? The White House has added another, yes, permanent layoffs. President Trump has framed this as a necessary step to cut costs and eliminate what he calls Democrat programs. That has unions bracing for potentially deeper damage to federal workforce compared with the 2018 to 2019 shutdown, which already stretched 35 days and cost the economy 11 billion. So the last one was in Trump's previous term, but it really wasn't that much of a big deal. I mean, maybe for some of the people that are affected, but for the economy and the markets, it wasn't. So let's see how the markets reacted in past shutdowns. This will, again, it might rhyme, it won't be exactly the same. It could be very different, but it's worth noting of what past shutdowns look like. So, how the market reacted in past shutdowns, despite the headlines. Market history suggests shutdowns are more disruptive politically than financially. During the 2018 to 2019 closure, the S&P 500 rallied nearly 10%, largely because the Federal Reserve signaled a dovish pivot on rates at the same time. We're sort of in the same situation. So, can the S&P 500 rally 10% while this is going on? Well, it can. I'll give you my thoughts on what's going to happen, but a shutdown doesn't mean that the markets are going to crash. In fact, you can see the markets are very much up today. Gold is up, which is sort of a defensive, safe play. But then you're looking at the S&P 500. I'm pretty sure the S&P 500 is up today as well. The S&P 500. Okay, no, the S&P 500 is slightly down actually. It's rallying now though. The S&P 500. It's sold off with this news, but it's coming back. But if you look at something even more risky than the S&P 500, it's the crypto market. The crypto market, you just go through all of these names, they're up about 4 to 10%. And then what's interesting is if you look at some of these defensive plays, I don't think that they're not really rallying on this news. So it's a very strange market. What about J&J? Coca-Cola's up slightly. J&J is up 0.2%. So you've got defensives not really rallying, the S&P down slightly, crypto really rallying, and gold rallying. It's a bit of a mismatch in the market. Normally, if you're going to get gold rallying, you might expect defensives to be rallying. You might expect the S&P and crypto to be down, but nothing really giving us a real trend that it's a risk on market, it's a risk off market. Nothing yet. Nothing there signaling what sort of situation we're in right now. So previously, in the last one, about 10% rally from the S&P 500. The 2013 shutdown, the one before that, lasted 16 days and saw the S&P gain around 3%. Even the 1995 to 1996 standoff under President Clinton had a little lasting effect. So none of these shutdowns previously have had any real effect negatively. In fact, the evidence suggests it's been a bit more positive market-wise. Politically, again, it's a different situation, but economically and market-wise, not really ever had a detrimental effect. In fact, had a sort of a positive effect. The pattern is clear. Equity markets tend to look through the noise, assuming a deal eventually gets struck. What does that mean? What does move us? What does move are safe havens. The dollar often softens, treasury yields dip, and gold rallies. We are already seeing that play out. Bullion surged to record $3,875 an ounce. Treasury futures are in demand, and Wall Street futures slipped in overnight trading. A lot of people now are looking at a 30-year treasury where they're earning 4.5%, and what they're doing is going long on them. So they're earning about 4.5% just by holding one of the world's safest assets, which is US debt. They're earning 4.5% there, but not only are they just buying it, they're buying a 3x long position. So they're getting 3 times the holdings of their treasury. That means about 3 times the yield they're getting. So they're effectively getting 4.5% on 3 times the amount they've invested. They are very confident that that debt is not going to default because it's a US treasury debt. So that 3x long is in theory fine, and everyone's expecting the prices of these bonds to go up because interest rates are coming down. So that means the price of these treasuries go up. So not only are they making money on the yield, they're making money on the price of these treasuries going up. So we are seeing a massive, and it's a very interesting strategy a lot of people are implementing now about these treasury futures and these treasury purchases of 30-year debt is what people are looking to are piling into at the moment. So that said, the shutdown isn't irrelevant. A prolonged impasse can delay government payments, stall economic data releases like this week's non-farm payroll report, and erode investor confidence. Credit rating agencies have previously flagged repeat shutdowns as evidence of weakening US physical governance, raising longer-term risks for the dollar and treasuries. So yes, it looks on the surface by looking at previous ones, it doesn't look like a big deal. In fact, the market rallies, but it's certainly not irrelevant, especially with the situation we're in right now. We need that data. We need the jobs data that, well, we don't need it. The Fed needs it. And in turn, we need it as market participants. Because if we don't get that data and if the Fed can't make a decision and they hint that it's an issue that they're not getting the jobs data that we're expecting on Friday or in the future as well, then what it can do, it can lead to a lot of uncertainty. It can lead to Jerome Powell coming out and saying, because of this government shutdown, we don't know what to do. And the market will not like that at all. Normally that would be fine, but because right now it's such a pivotal moment for rate cuts, that could be one of the concerns. And that might be a reason why people might move away from the US markets until we've got some more clarity. No one likes uncertainty. The markets don't like uncertainty, but we're not there yet. But we very easily could get there. So what should investors expect? In the short term, expect volatility with defense assets, gold, utility treasuries outperforming. Travel and airline stocks could see pressure if the TSA staffing shortages trigger disruptions. So TSA staff do have to go, obviously part of the federal government, but because they're essential workers, they are asked to come in, but some of them don't actually come in because they're not getting paid. So what that could cause is a lot of travel and travel problems, which could affect the airline stock. So keep an eye on that if you do own airline stocks. Do keep an eye on gold, utilities, and treasuries because they tend to go up during these volatile periods. But that's in the short term, nothing really too significant. Medium term, the data issue, the bigger issue is data. If shutdown delays key releases, the Fed may hesitate to adjust policy without full economic picture. That uncertainty could keep equities range bound. That's what we're looking for, a little bit more medium term, end of the week, in the next few weeks, coming up to the FOMC meeting at the end of this month, is the data story. If we don't get that data, we will have some issues in the market. And the more long term, historically, shutdowns haven't derailed bull markets. But if this one stretches into weeks with permanent layoffs and rating risks, it could accelerate global diversification from US assets. So in a week's time, if this isn't sorted, and this starts to look like a more long-term issue. Remember, we don't have to wait for it to be in shutdown for 4 or 5 weeks. If we start to get the sense a week or two from now that this is going to be a very long-term issue, that we're not getting the data, that's when the market will start pricing in and start potentially having a much bigger correction. So for investors, the main rule is don't overreact to Washington theatre. Shutdowns are a recurring feature in US politics, and the history shows markets usually recover quickly once funding is restored. What's different this time is the rhetoric around permanent workforce cuts and the backdrop of record gold prices. These are signals that the market are treating this standoff as part of a bigger picture. US physical credibility is fraying at the edges. If you're long equities, history suggests staying put makes more sense than panic selling, but hedging through gold, cash, or treasuries isn't a bad play. If the shutdown drags on beyond a month, it could turn into a headline risk. It could turn from a headline risk into a structural one, and that's when the markets care a lot more. And that's why today's money move for the day does suggest that during periods of political uncertainty, some investors consider balancing risk by holding a proportion of their portfolio in defensive assets like gold, treasuries, or cash, defensive stocks, not as a reaction, but as a preparation. Whether markets soar or stumble, having dry powder can give you options. No one knows exactly how this is going to play out. History shows it'll play out fine, but we've never been in a situation like we've never had a government shutdown in the same sort of situation we are at today. I'm going to stay fully invested, but I always have some defensive plays, whether that's gold, is at a very nice price. I would happily sell and buy into a massive crash, or a bit of cash on the side, or treasuries, assets that I can sell, or if it's cash, just very easily buy into the market if this does turn into a much bigger crash, and always be prepared for it, especially this time. It is a little bit different to every other time, but there's no evidence to suggest we're 100% going to get a crash. In fact, the evidence suggests we're going to continue rallying, but if things do continue to get worse, having a defensive hedge, like Martyn with Coca-Cola, like me with gold, you can buy into a big crash if that does occur and we stop getting data and Jerome Powell starts creating panic, and all of these things. If we have massive layoffs and if this goes on for a very long time, you have to be prepared for that. But don't panic. Don't start selling everything today, but also be prepared for it. So I hope you understand that a little bit more. Let me go to your comments, see what everyone's thoughts and reactions are on this government shutdown. Sensei, I am 100% sure you'll be rich in the future from just selling your morning forecast. I've never read a more professional, more informative newsletter based on all the facts. It's just the best. David Hensley, thank you so much. It's always great to hear that. Let me just give everyone the link for the newsletter. I'm glad you enjoy it. There was some idiot who came in earlier and said, I'm so disappointed. It looks like an AI article. They don't understand. And I'll explain to you exactly how I do these newsletters, because there's no reason not to be transparent, even though I don't have to explain to you. I want to. So I spend about the link is in the chat if you do want to sign up, about 3.5, 4 hours a day on this newsletter, because it comes out every single morning before the opening bell. What I do is I go and I've subscribed to every single news platform you can think of, Bloomberg, Financial Times. I mean, there's literally hundreds. So I pay hundreds and even thousands, because some things like Bloomberg Terminal cost a lot. So let's just say hundreds, because I get a very good price on one of them. Anyway, I spend hundreds on all these places to get the news. Then I scour through all of them, me personally, with my eyes, no AI. I see what's the most important stories, because I've been doing this for so long. Because I've been reading the news, been part of the markets. I know what news stories affect the markets, and also I understand the audience. I understand who watches this channel and what they're interested in. So I go through all of those stories on different platforms, and then I look into them. I start writing the main points from these stories. I start taking quotes from specific parts. I start looking at sources, and then I find that story. And then once I find that specific story, and remember, we have at least 5 a day. I mean, yesterday we had 2 extra bonus stories. I look at those stories. Then not only do I just take it from one platform, unless it's an exclusive story, I find that story in multiple different news platforms, because people report on it differently, and I want to get all the main information. So I start accumulating all of that, writing down where the sources are from, copying them, putting them into a document. Once I've got all the different stories, same story but from different story providers, and that's just for one story. I do that for all the stories we get. Then I compile it. I see what parts are interesting. I put my thoughts and opinions into it. Then I do use AI software to help me write it, because obviously it helps with spell check, grammar, and puts it in a very nice format, but also to compile all that data that's pages long, to create it into a perfect short 2-paragraph per story. So yes, I do use AI, but I compile all the information myself. If you just go out and ask AI to create you a newsletter with 5 things you need to know every day, you will think it looks brilliant to begin with, but there's going to be full of mistakes, and it's not going to be very good at all. And then obviously I do also use AI to help me create that top key stories at a glance, so really shorten it so you guys can see that main story. But about 90% of the time, is spent compiling it, finding it, bringing all the news sources together. But yes, there is AI usage. But it really annoys me when people say it's a bad article, or it takes you 5 minutes. This takes 4 hours every single morning. No one can reproduce anything like this to this quality. So thank you, David Hensley, for your thoughts. Anyway, that's how it works. And obviously, the deep dives I spend about the deep dive itself takes about an hour and a half, because that's a lot more. That's not really AI at all. That's all my thoughts and opinions. And then obviously you've got the chart of the day, which how can a chart of the day do the AI? I literally find the charts and I explain to you all the important points and information. And then you get the economic calendar, which then I obviously use different sources to find out what's happening every week, and I compile that. Um, so yeah, that's how the newsletter works every single morning. Good luck to anyone who wants to reproduce it by just typing in one little prompt on a AI software. You can't do it. It's impossible. We provide the highest standard. So yeah, if you do want the newsletter, there is the link. There is a free plan. You don't even have to pay for it. Or if you want to support the show, support. Remember, I quit my full-time job to do this. If you want to support me as well, you can sign up on the newsletter as a premium plan, get the full deep dives, get direct access to me and the community. Sensei, the Lucasades know all you go through and sacrifice to get us that newsletter in such perfection. We know you don't use AI to create a newsletter. We've got your back, brother. No worries. Thank you. Thanks for the newsletter. No worries. So what does everyone think about the story on the government shutdown? We're going to go over to Martyn very shortly as well in about 13 minutes time, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to go through the charts as well, and talk a bit about XRP and the markets as well, and give you my thoughts. It's my favorite video of the day, hands down. Thank you so much, Cody. I'm glad you appreciate it. 88% of you say it's a great part of the day. I do appreciate it. I know some people might not like it, might not find it useful, but 88% of you do. That's oh, there might be trolls as well. That's amazing to hear, because I do want to make sure I am adding value to your lives and making you understand the market a bit better. And some people will come on and say, do this today, do that tomorrow. The good thing about what we do every morning is we understand the market more. So the next time it comes around, you just have a better understanding of things and you make more informed decisions. Whether you make a decision that day and make some money, or you add to your knowledge bank and you make better decisions over the future, I think that's more important. Understanding the markets a bit more, navigating the markets, so you get a better holistic understanding, so you can make some better trades and better decisions with more, because you're more informed and you learn something new every single day. Pfizer rallying. Did you buy yesterday? No, I didn't buy yesterday. I personally don't really tend to buy into pumps. Pfizer was already up about 3-4% when the news was announced. Pfizer is up. It is up another 3% since, but it's not really something I'm interested in. I don't think Pfizer will perform amazingly long term. It's already in a fairly deep downtrend from 2022. It can certainly have a nice rebound, maybe go up to there is resistance at 26.50. If it gets past that, it can certainly go to $35, but it's not. It doesn't interest me too much. This is more of a I would call it a boring long-term stock, which from my risk tolerance it doesn't really appeal too much to me. And some of the ethics around the company, again, I won't get into it too much, but I don't personally like too much. What else do we have? Won't the banks crash? No loans, etc. No, banks will be fine. They won't be affected. Morning, so the party is started. Maybe this is the start of the bull market. We are now in October, so let's see what happens. Love to learn. Brilliant. Shutdowns equals uncertainty. In 2013, the Dow slid nearly 200 points in the first week, while treasuries and gold steady as safe havens. Thank you, Matthew. 2013. I had to check that. Refreshing worked, yes. If you ever have audio issues, it's very, very rarely because of something I'm doing here. It's normally YouTube, so you have to refresh. What could the government shutdown mean for the markets? Yes, we've just literally covered that. Andrew says refresh on its work with his sound. Thank you, Andrew. Matthew says confidence in America's financial stability just took another hit. Thanks for the newsletter work, says human being. David Hensley says thank you for your input on the newsletter. Human being says slippy here. Matthew says Tether teaming up with Rumble feels bold. Can USAT realistically compete with USAT? What's you? I don't think that's the stablecoin. USAT. Oh right, yeah. No, it is. Can USAT realistically compete with USDC, or is this more about gaining a niche audience? Matthew, I love your comments, but it always seems like you're using AI to create your comments. Why don't you just chat as yourself rather than AI? Um, yeah, all of your comments recently are just from AI. I don't understand why you don't want to just comment yourself. XRP, dude. Would our potential contributions go directly to you, Sensei, or you and Martyn, XRP, dude? I don't know what you mean. This is a you support me and Martyn, yeah. This is Martyn's channel, and I'm streaming on it. So yeah, I don't do this for free. So yeah, if anything happens during my streams, it definitely supports me as well. Good morning. Sent your thumbnail today is almost the same as mine from yesterday. Guess we have good taste. Your thumbnail today is almost the same as mine from yesterday. Are you a YouTuber? Let me have a look. Go to channel. What's yours from yesterday? Were you live? Oh yeah, you are a YouTuber. Wait, where's yours from yesterday? How I don't understand. What do you mean? None of your thumbnails look like mine at all. What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you mean. Hi everyone, appreciate Sensei's newsletter. I personally wouldn't have an issue if Sensei used AI, believing he would double check the information created. He's vastly experienced. I trust the judgment. Thank you. Yes. Yes. Okay, let me come onto the charts before we go over to Martyn. So we're going to get some pump on XRP. It is pumping right now. I'm a huge on RZLV today. I expect an earnings pop, but not this much. RZLV, I haven't looked into it. Is it their earnings day? RZLV. Resolve AI. It's up 20% pre-market. Yes, we have done chart analysis on this before. I contacted Joseph Webmartin. I'm hoping for a phone call soon from Bonzo from Alaska. Okay, so we've gone through the comments. A lot of World War III signaling from politicians and media. Thoughts on this if you have an impact on crypto? No thoughts. Oh, I thought I went through the comments. I haven't. Oh, that was Stephen Lundaski said I contacted Joseph Webb. Ibrahim said, hey. 4L Crypto says, my topic today is if Tether may unraveling with the audits they have to do. Thank you for letting us know. XRP Den said, I thought Ripple had a patent and no other personal company could use the technology. But it's a decentralized technology. Anyone can use it. Any company can use it. It's not Ripple. That's the whole point of XRP. Anyone can use it. That's great for XRP holders. If it was just Ripple that could use it, that would be a problem. Susan says, I love your shows. Thank you, Susan. I really appreciate that. 4L Crypto says, in shorts. Oh, in your shorts section. In your shorts. Oh, this one here. I don't know which one, but I love it. Thanks for letting me know. Seth Houston says, good morning, all senses. Seth Houston, did you like my deep dive yesterday I did for you on the newsletter? Did you like it? I did it all on Dr. Pepper. I know that was one you requested. Kevin says, I love your humble demeanor, packed with huge knowledge. I'm very bullish on a little XRP and XLM holding. Keep up the good work, my friend. Kevin Leo, that is a very, very nice comment. Thank you so much for your comment. My short on the government shutdown thumbnail. Government shutdown, yes. This one here, right? I can see it. He just wanted you to share. Clever fella. Yeah, no worries. We don't mind. It's fine. Even essential Fed workers who still have to work don't get paid until the government reopens. Yes, that's correct. That's why some of the TSA workers potentially won't come in, even though they're essential workers. In 2018, banks waived credit card and mortgage late fees. Liquidity will be affected. Thank you, KC. Great way for free promo. Do you see, Anointed Flowers is here. Good morning. Giraffe says, do you trade with margin? If so, how do you decide how much is safe without getting in trouble? I do trade with margin, but that's mainly on a small part of my portfolio. How do I decide what's safe without getting in trouble? The way I decide that is if I'm going to use leverage, that whole amount, I have to be happy with losing, because if I'm using leverage, you can get liquidated. Of course, there's some very safe assets out there like treasuries and a 1.5x leverage. You're very, 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 very unlikely to get liquidated and lose it all. But with more of the investments that we tend to do, so whether it's crypto or ETFs, the amount I put into a leverage position, I have to be willing to be prepared to lose, and that shouldn't affect my life too much. So you can go across the risks there. If I'm doing it in crypto and I'm going higher leverage, then I have to be very, 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 very ready for it to lose it all. If I'm going with the S&P 500 on 2x leverage, it's very, very unlikely that I will lose it all, but I have to be prepared to, because I'm going leverage. It's the risk you're taking on. So the way I decide what's safe to do so is I don't put in anything more than I'm comfortable with losing. And again, that depends on what asset you're going into. Why are we seeing a pump despite the shutdown? Because historically the shutdown doesn't mean anything. The S&P 500 last time rallied 10%. Sorry, it was a post I made, not a short. A post you made, not a short. Okay, here we go. You want me to show you the whole channel, don't you? This is free advertisement for this channel. Oh, this one. Yes, we found the same image then as for crypto. There it is. There it is. I'll give you a like. Here we go. For L Crypto is a fellow YouTuber. Good morning, and he's got free advertisement. Good morning, Sensei. Good to have you back. Kimberly, great to have you in the show. I'm glad to be back. We've got 1 minute until Martyn goes live. Let me just get through all these comments. I love Sensei. Your shows are my inspiration. Really? Wow. 4L Crypto. That's very nice to hear. Good luck with all you do. I'll see if I can watch some of your content. Sorry, it was a post I made. Tony Blair is back for Halloween. Great morning show, Sensei. Always happy when I can make it. Thank you, Casey. No need for justification, Sensei. No, I'd just like to explain things. 86% of you feel like it's a great part of your day and you learn some real facts during the stream. Thank you so much for that. That makes me feel better. Anyone see SBC going to $4 today? Martyn might be able to answer that question. He's going live right now. Do you think Trump RX and Pfizer will be successful? I think this should be free for seniors. I saw it run yesterday. Oh, this sounds like it's you, Matthew, speaking. I love it. I prefer when it's you speaking. Do I think it'll be successful? I'm sure it will be. It's two rich people coming together. I think it'll be successful. I think it should be free for seniors. I think healthcare should, in general, be free, like here in the UK. Even though there's problems with it here, there is a lot. At least everyone has access to it. In the US, it's very, very difficult. So yes, I do think it should be free for at least for seniors and stuff like that. Swift Coin Hoarder, how's our buddy the Rooster? I haven't heard the Rooster today, so I hope it's fine. Bishop David Black, hi Sensei, please give me your thoughts on this. That XRP's price suppressed. This morning I watched both XRP and Bitcoin go at the same time at 3%. Bitcoin went up 3,000, but XRP struggled to gain 14 cents. They both go up 3%. That's 14 cents could be 3%, and $3,000 could be 3%. It's about percentage, not the amount it's gone up. And they always tend to go up and down together, um, because of how the crypto market works and all the bots and everyone that follows suit. Say a big no to digital ID. Resist control. There'll be a video coming out later. Okay, so Martyn is about to go live. I'll give you the link right now. ISO warning, Bank of America. This is going to be interesting. Government shutdown sparks XRP pump hype. Bank of America's big next move. This will be very, very interesting. I'm going to be tuning into this. Martyn always has great connections, and we understand a lot when Martyn goes live. So there is a link to Martyn going live. Here is the link once again to the newsletter. If you haven't got it yet, do consider subscribing to the newsletter. There's the newsletter link. Bishop David Black, I think you've got it very, very wrong. If they both go up 3%, they both go up 3%. It doesn't matter how many cents or thousands of dollars it goes up. 3% of $100 is £3. 3% of $1,000 is £30. That's still 3%. I don't quite understand your point there. Oh, Fonzie gave $4. Thank you so much for supporting the show. I love it. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Remember, there might be a video either today or tomorrow coming out on the whole UK government crypto. If seen, please do make sure you check it out. Watch it all the way through. Hit the like button, comment when you see that come out. Make sure you watch it through. Digital IDs, all that stuff coming out. But right now, we're going to go over to Martyn. I'm live every single morning, 2 hours before the opening bell, same time. So I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. But for now, we're going over to Martyn. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye-bye.